All right. Previously, we discussed about functions. Now we're gonna discuss about functions with arguments or parameters. Arguments are also known as parameters. So, arguments are something which we pass on to the functions. So, if you're passing one function, one argument or parameter inside the function, then it must be called. If you're passing two arguments or something, then it should be called in that way. So, let's say if your function expects two arguments, you must call it with exactly two arguments. All right. So let's take an example. And my first function, and let's take first name, last name as arguments. So these two are basically the arguments I'm passing inside my function. And let's print, I'd say whatever goes into these two should be printed out. So print like this, last name. And my first function, I'll call it back. We discussed this is called calling the function. So let's say Irum and Ghafoor. All right. So let's save it file. Save functions arguments.py, save and s. So if you try to call the function with the wrong number of arguments, you will get an error. But first, let's run it so I can let you know the difference between both. Mm, here is. So it's taking a bit of time. Um, okay, so my system is running a bit slow. All right, so here is the output result over here, Irum Ghafoor. All right. So yeah. So let's talk about you can assign all let's talk about default parameter values. So like what happened inside this code, let's discuss it first. So whatever values I gave to this function over here, it resulted into this, like this. All right. So I printed the first and the last time and it printed into this. So default parameter values. So you can assign default values to parameters. So if the function is called without an argument, it uses a default value. Like let's say, define my first function and let's say name. Name is a as an name is an argument which I'm passing inside it, and let's give it a name. So print hello and name. So whatever is inside this name, it will be called out. Now let's say if I call it back, it should return me this value. Like let's say I'm passing a name XYZ. If it has this name, then it will automatically print out XYZ. Okay. Like this, hello XYZ. But let's say it's an empty calling thing. I'm not calling anything. Now what it will pass down? It will pass this value automatically. Hello, Iram. All right. So let's say let's talk about like default value for country parameter. All right. So define my first function And country, let's talk about country and Pakistan. And this is the default country I'm writing down. So let's say I am from, and I give it my country argument, and my first function is like, let's say I say Sweden, or my first function, and it says Brazil or something like that. So what it will do is it will print out the similar, like I'm from these countries like this. I'm from Sweden, I'm from Brazil like this. But let's say my first function, and I'm giving it an empty output. I'm not calling anything inside this function, and I run it. So it will say I'm from Pakistan. All right. Like it will it will give the default value to it. All right. So more other than that, you can also have keyword arguments. So what does that mean? Keyword arguments. So in keywords arguments, you can send the arguments with the key value syntax. Let's define my first function, and let's say we take animal and then name, and we say print I have a, and I'll call my argument animal argument over here, and then print my, and you can say animal, animal's name is, and this is name. All right. So let's call it let me call my first function. I'll say animal, you can dog. So this is key value pairing, and name is equal to Tommy. All right. So this is how we can pass on arguments as well. So this way, the order of the argument does not matter, like in the key value arguments stuff. All right. So this is it for today. This is how uh, arguments work inside a function. I hope you guys understood it really well. See you in the next video.